The following is a presentation of Project Independence and WCWP. Project Independence is the Aging in Place initiative of the town of North Hempstead. We provide programs and services designed to assist and support the older town residents who wish to remain in their homes as they age. If we don't currently provide a service, we will try and connect you to that service. Call 311 or 869-6311 to get more information or receive services.
Welcome to Project Independence and You.
Welcome to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am your host today, Rebecca Miller, along with co-host Otto Los and our fabulous radio show producer, Kristina Liu. Our show today is going to be a really great show. We're going to be speaking with Officer Joseph Altieri, and just kind of all about safety tips. He's with the Nassau County with the 6th Precinct, and we'll be talking to him today, just about, I guess, all around safety tips. I know that it's so prevalent, scams and that, those kinds of things within the senior community, because they like to prey on people that are, I don't know, Otto, easy prey. People that they think they can trick.
It's the season to be jolly, and the bad people find it as a great opportunity, I think, to take advantage of a lot of stuff that goes on.
Yeah, I think especially because, the combination of COVID and shopping and everything is so kind of like a little more stressful. And if you actually go out and you're shopping, you have the tension of kind of wearing your mask and what are the rules and what stores, and, getting things quickly, getting in and out. So like, you have to be like really, we talk about being mindful all the time, but, just be mindful of, where you're going, locking up your car, always parking, near a light, that kind of a thing. And just paying attention and to all your stuff, your bags, your wallet. So it's just kind of like, the regular things that we do, but just like a little bit more vigilant,
Could be more preoccupied.
Yeah.
And as you point out, not being mindful of where you are.
Yeah.
I had an experience myself about a week ago.
Really?
Excuse me.
Sure.
I go to for blood tests, every 6 months, whatever. So I go, and one of the treats after the blood test is within the building of the blood test, there's a little luncheonette. So I always go for my bacon and egg sandwich at that time, because now I passed my blood test, so it's okay.
Was there cheese on that sandwich? Just checking.
No cheese, no.
No cheese, okay.
Just well done bacon.
Of course, crispy, egg. Right?
So, but when I'm there, take the wallet out, take the credit card out, and thinking about what I have no idea, but obviously not about what I was doing. So I proceed to leave the place, and then I go to buy gas. And when I go to buy gas and I go into my wallet, I see no credit card. So now panic sets in. What did I do with the credit card? So I go back to the little luncheonette, and fortunately, I had left it laying on the counter, and some nice person turned it in. I was able to get it back. But a good example of not paying attention to where you are and what you're doing, because I'm right away thinking about, oh man, what am I going to do? My credit card is gone, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You got lucky, because credit cards are, so easily people can just, use them. And all you really need is the person's zip code. Even if you you get gas, they just ask for the zip code number. So you just have to really be vigilant about your stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I remember when I was in college, and we had long time ago, and, they talked a lot about opportunity crimes. Part of it is not, not on us. We're not doing anything wrong. No one should be committing crimes. However, we kind of innocently offer opportunities to crime. Even like you say, you're running into a store and you leave your door unlocked. I'm going to be right in and out. Like, someone could really have the opportunity to do something that maybe they wouldn't have done, but because we kind of, fall into that. But I do think that our guest officer, Joseph Altieri from the 6th Precinct, has joined us today. So how are you doing there?
Good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Can you see me? I was having a little technical difficulties.
No, I see your name.
Hold on.
There you go.
There you are.
Okay. All right. I'm with my partner here, Officer Vilchez. We're trying to work this out. We are having some technical difficulties, so I'm on my phone. So
Okay.
it's great to see everyone.
Hi, we could see you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. Otto and I were just talking a little bit about, just how there's so many more. I guess it seems like opportunity for crimes during the holiday season. People are out more shopping, all that, and of course, we're Project Independence, so our primary focus is on seniors, and kind of like the soup to nuts of everything. We want to just, talk a lot about, how to, I was just like talking to Otto about, I remember when I was in college, and one of the first things, I had an officer come in and talk to everybody in the dorms, and they were talking about the opportunity that we actually give people for crimes, by not locking your door. Maybe somebody would have just walked by and not done anything. So you have to kind of be vigilant about everything.
Right. We get caught up with whether it's being involved in what we have going on in our own life, and sometimes we just take things for granted that we don't even know that we're doing something that where a bad guy or girl, depending on who it would be, would say they're always looking for that opportunity. And whether it's just like leaving your car doors unlocked, and with the packages in it, and so I'll just be right back. I just got to go into the house real quick, and it'll be fine. I live in a nice neighborhood, and no one's watching me, or no one's paying any attention to that. And whether it's your pocketbook or a package or something you might have just bought at the store, you go inside and you forget about it, and you come back out, and someone's gone through your car. Or whether you're shopping in the shopping center, same thing. Like, I'm just running into wall bounce real quick. This is a good area. I'll be right back. And you come back and your window is smashed, or because the package is right on the front seat and they open.
Right.
And the people who commit crimes are always looking for that one opportunity, and it happens in a split second.
Well, they're looking for the easiest opportunity, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You make it easy for them by leaving your car door open. I know a number of people, probably about 5 in the last 6 months, where they got broken into in the driveway just because they left the car door open.
Right.
I have a funny story just about that specific topic. So on the way into work today, I talked to my brother, and he goes, "Oh, can you believe it? Someone broke into my car." I go, "What are you wait," I said, "Did someone break the window, or did you leave your doors unlocked?" He goes, "No, I left my doors unlocked, and of all days, I left my wallet in the car, and I live in a good area." So I'm like, "Bill, that's exactly what happens to everyone." I tell people, just because you live in an area, don't leave stuff in the open, and don't leave your car doors unlocked.
Well, I don't know. Do we lose Joe? His picture is frozen.
I do think that
I don't know.
Joe, we lost you a little bit. You were freezing, so we didn't hear your response. Now you kind of seem back.
I had in the business of cars and locking cars. In this day and age, it seems to be different with all kinds of cars. I had my own experience with the wireless kind of car, where you don't have to do anything. You leave the car and the car shuts itself. The only problem with that is one day not long ago, I was playing golf, and I came back and the car was nicely air conditioned, because I never shut the car off. It just kept running.
Yeah.
And it was a hot day, so it was maybe a good thing. But on the other hand, if somebody comes by who's of the crooked nature and they see that car running, it wouldn't take much to break the window and take the car in for a nice drive somewhere.
And chances are too, the door locks on the car weren't locked even, because
no, they were locked. They
were.
Yeah, you have to have the key in your pocket in order for to be able to open the car. But that was the good news. I mean, but the point was I left the car running for 5 hours.
Right.
And anybody comes walking by and can see that the car is running.
Yeah.
Well, you probably went through a lot of gas.
But that's the idea about paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Being mindful.
I've done the same thing too. One evening I went out and it was raining, so I didn't really want to get wet. So I had a push starter on my car. So I'm like, all right, I'm looking at the weather. The rain slows up a little bit, not realizing the car is left on. I go in to eat dinner. I get ready to walk back out to my car and I see the lights on and my car's running. I'm like, oh my God, my car's getting stolen. Go run up to my car and there's no one in it. I left the car running. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do get caught up in the moment, but for an opportunist, they're like, oh, this is great. This is a good score for me. There's no one in this car and I'm going to take it for a ride and go do whatever else I'm going to do with it.
Yeah. It seems
in that area where I live, which is New Hyde Park, I've been hearing about a number of people having catalytic converters taken from their cars. And maybe could you just, this is a little off the track maybe, but what's the story on that? Is it easy to get these things off the car?
It's very easy, and every car has one. And believe it or not, there's a little piece of platinum in it, which makes a catalytic converter expensive. That's what they want out of the catalytic converter. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be a new car. We take reports in the past for, older cars, and most of the time they like to go for a higher car off the ground, like a van or a truck, because it's easy to get underneath there. Undo the catalytic converter. It's a couple of bolts. It falls out, and you wouldn't even know, because when you come in back into your car, either the next day or the next morning, you start it up, the car starts up, and you think, oh, my muffler's shot. I have to go get a new muffler. You bring your car in, which we've had people say, oh, I thought my muffler was bad. I brought it into my mechanic. He goes, no, your muffler's fine. It's your catalytic converter that's stolen. So, yeah. I
don't visualize much you can do. I don't know what can you do about that. If you
listen, believe it or not, a thief will find any possible score to make some money, and they look at everything, whether it could be the catalytic converter that we think is what could you do with it, to stealing cardboard. So we've even had people stealing grease from restaurants, because they recycle. There's money in everything. And we might look at cardboard as being trash, but when the people are paying to recycle, to buy it for recycling, then they sell it for recycling, and they steal it. And they look for like we keep saying, every opportunity to find some kind of scam to do.
I'm sure with now with the season too, everybody's shopping more. It's darker so much earlier too. I think it's like 4:30 it starts to get dark. So you've got all these things going against you. So people really should, be mindful of that. What are some of the, I want to say crimes. So what's some of the things that kind of increase during this time? So, maybe our listeners can become aware of the more, the increase during, it gets darker earlier. It's people are out shopping, So
we have usually during this time of year, we have an increase of packages being delivered and stolen off the front steps of houses. Because let's say Amazon or UPS or FedEx, they deliver most of the packages, let's say 10 in the morning. Most people are at work. Last year was different because we were in a different situation.
Right.
A lot of people were at home, but now that more people have gone back to work this year, so a thief will see a package on the front steps at 10 in the morning, drive around, 12, 1 o'clock, the same package is still sitting on the front steps. Easily walk up to the front steps. It doesn't have to be something for they're looking specifically for. It's just a package. Well, they'll take it. Whatever they get, they get. And, so we have packages stolen off the front porch. We do get increased
shoplifting,
especially during the busy season for holiday shopping. What else?
You also get people also getting, followed when you go shopping in the malls or big parking lots. People are getting followed to their cars, and then they're getting their packages or whatever they bought stolen from being followed from, or if you're leaving packages in the cars, another thing which they're doing as well.
Auto break-ins.
Right.
And we do get, we tend to get burglaries at this time of the year. More of an increase in burglaries.
Right, because they know that you've got gifts in the house, maybe under the
Correct.
tree, and then you're they know your schedule. You go out, you go to work, the kids are in school, no one's home.
Yep.
So yeah.
Reading stuff that you guys sent to us ahead of time, I think a lot of it comes down to making yourself a less easy prey, if you will.
Yeah.
Like I walk a lot, and when I walk, I look around and I see houses where they have trees and bushes and whatever hiding the door, hiding windows. And I'm saying to myself, if I were a crook, that'd be an easy thing to do. I could hang out behind the bush, figure out how to get in there, and first case the place, make sure nobody's there. So my thought, and it had nothing to do with this show, frankly, is that people really have to look at things like that. And I've been broken into in my own home, and it's not a nice feeling. You feel quite intruded upon. But things like obvious stuff, in my opinion, like a bush that hides everything or a tree that hides everything. Does that kind of encourage the bad guy or girl?
Yeah. So they look for any kind of opportunity that's going to help them. So they'll target the house that is not lit up at all, that looks like there's no one in there. No exterior lighting, if it's at night or early evening.
They'll look for homes with no alarms.
They'll look at if you leave your mail out, in the mailbox. These people are very smart. They have the unlimited time in the world, like where we, most of the time, people in general are so busy doing a million things at once that, you wouldn't say, I can't even put the effort into that because I don't have the time. These people, that's all that they do, is they have plenty of time to do this, and they could just wait it out, and they look at everything like you did, so always be aware of like your surroundings and what's going on. Like, so if you think there's a bush or a tree that's hiding like a window, or, that might not be, that good.
Joe, actually, we have to take a quick break, but we will be right back. You've been listening to Project Independence NU on 88.1 FM, WCWP.org, and we'll be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence NU, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm your host, Rebecca Miller, along with co-host Otto Los. And today we've been talking with Officer Joseph Altieri and also Eddie B. Vilchez. How's that? I don't want to mispronounce his name. Both from the 6th Precinct, from POP also. And we just want to thank you both for coming on and giving us such important information, how to protect ourselves, be safe, be vigilant. So I know, Otto, over the break, you had a question for the
Yeah.
officer.
My question is, Joe's title involves problem-oriented policing, and it's something that everybody does read about on a title basis in the newspapers or TV, whatever. Could you maybe just elaborate and explain what does that really mean?
So what POP is really for, so we are like an in-between of patrol men and women that come to your house for a 911 call, and let's say the detective squad, where we would be like the in-between. So we have like a wide variety of different assignments and tasks that we take care of. We do anything from going into schools and dealing with the schools, principals, superintendents, meeting the kids or the young students, because we do high schools as well, to temples, churches, mosques, community outreach like that, to youth groups. And then we also investigate some crimes too. So it's really a bunch of different things. We're basically, POP is to interact more directly with the community and have and establish a relationship with the community members. So we
if
do
they have problems that they can voice them with you.
Yep.
And obviously you can try to do something about what you can do something about.
Yep.
Which isn't everything.
Yeah, you guys have been doing this a long time. I think I remember speaking with you, Joe. You did a program for us like 14 or 15 years ago. So I think this, like, is that possible? 2007, 2008. I know that we had
I've been in the 6 precincts for about 16 years, but it might have been another officer that might have came on.
Okay, no, not on radio. Just doing a presentation at North Hempstead for our seniors. We were like, but that was years ago. So I feel like this community-based policing is it's so wonderful. It's so, keep getting engaged with the community, getting to know the community, them getting to know you. I think you guys are like ahead of your time, and so much of what you're doing is just it's great to kind of establish relationships with the areas that you're covering, and I'm sure it's makes people feel safer too.
Yeah, it does, especially like when I was on patrol and I would drive my police car around, and my city post, I'd get to know the residents or the store owners, and we would be on the first name basis. And it's funny because if they needed something, I knew this person, I knew their family, or I knew the store owner and their business, and if they were having a problem, and try to help them out as much as I can. And especially if it was anything to do with like a criminal thing, we could solve the problem, catch the bad guy, make them feel a little better and safer. And the same thing with me too. Like, I felt comfortable around these people. I felt like we were kind of friends, and there was a good relationship there. Officer Vilchez worked on his post, and he knew more people than I would ever know. Just interacting and talking to people and showing that like we're humans too. Like right. we're not just police officers. We're people. So we go through the same things as everyone else, and that when we're at work, sometimes we can't show that because we have to, we show up to bad things, and we have to be professional. Right. Most people, don't see that, and they might think we're robots, but we are people just like everyone else. And, we have emotions, and we're sensitive to stuff just like people are. And, so to show the public that, we're not just police officers, we're also people too. And we understand sometimes if they're in a bad situation, we feel the same thing that they might be feeling too.
I mean, what's good, like Officer Altieri said, is that, when we're on patrol, you do interact a lot, but unfortunately you also rely on the radio where you have to answer calls, what you're assigned to. In this position that we are in POP, we have a little bit more liberty to actually go to different functions, meet with the different community leaders, speak to a lot of kids, and we develop a relationship where we're pretty much like the liaison from the police department in the community. So they could see the other aspects of police officers. It's not just we just give out tickets or arrest or that. It shows kind of like the human side of our job, where
I would
you
think
could also trust us and you could also rely on us. And if there's someone lost, I just want to make sure that a child can come up to me and say, I lost my parent. Can you help me? Yeah. We want that trust to be developed all over again, with the community.
The flip side of that is you're not always dealing with the cream of the crop either. You're not always dealing with nice people, if you will. So how do I explain this? The people who are causing the problems for the good people in the area as well. Everybody gets affected. Is this like the problem-oriented policing? Is that now really part of, like, if you go through the academy now for training, would that type of philosophy be trained, if you will?
Well, our department is community-based. We when I came out here from the NYPD, the first thing we were taught in the academy is that, this is different from the city. We're more, community-based. We go the extra mile. We try to help out, not that the guys and the girls in the city don't. They just have a much larger call volume and they deal with a lot more stuff, So we are always taught from the academy, we're a community-based organization. Now more than ever, it's being stressed to build relationships of the last year or so with everything that has happened. With that said, we also last year there was 2 pop officers. Our commissioner expanded it to 3, and then just this year he expanded it again. So now we have 4 assigned to each precinct. So it is something that's constantly building up, and I wouldn't doubt if it did expand even more in the future.
How wide is the program? Is it like a national kind of program, or is it more local to Long Island or New York?
No, I believe.
Yeah. NYPD does have a version of it, which I think what they would call it CPOP, or I don't know what it's called anymore.
Okay.
Back then when I was also NYPD, it was called CPOPs. It's almost like a version of community affairs. But each department does have their POPs, even the village departments. They might have it a different term with different terminology of what they call it. Right. But more and more, like Officer Altieri said, they're trying to expand it more, I think. Yeah. It's because it's a good thing where now, sometimes because our uniform's a little bit different, so it's not really intimidating when we go because we're not wearing the full gear of the whole blue uniform, the vest, and the gun belt. It's a more friendly aspect of when kids see us, community leaders, or even the legislators that we deal with. It's just more, like I said, like a liaison between the department and the community where they could actually talk to us. It's like, we could be a little bit informal, where we could actually just talk like just 2 friends and discussing what are the problems in the area that we work in, and we could just actually work together and try to fix everything within the community. It's
wonderful. I mean, thank you both and your department for that. I think it's wonderful community-based programs, and and like you were saying, you guys, you have families, we're all sharing the community, and it's wonderful. Do you guys get asked to from other areas, other like police, maybe other states, to kind of a lot of times, like with Project Independence, people want to know how we do what we do. Like, what's the model you use? I would think what you guys do is so important, like, especially this time, that you'd have like people from other areas or other states saying, how do you do it? How do you start it up? That kind of a thing.
we're constantly sharing information with other departments, and something might work really well at somewhere else, and then we look at it, and then Commissioner Ryder will see it, and then they'll say, hey, listen, this is working over here, let's try this. Or if something's not working here, he'll say, you know what, we're going to do something a little different. So there's always an exchange of information, and whichever way we could make things better, he's all for it. So
yeah, that's great.
And he's still going to be here too. That's
yes,
this is not a political show, but that to me is good news. So
you guys have been doing this for so long. It's clear that, you were way ahead of the 8 ball, way ahead of everything, and really understood, we can't help what happens everywhere, and, things that have happened. But it's really good to know that, the 6th Precinct has had, has kind of been like a model for this type of program for so long. I'm curious, the senior population on Long Island and nationally is growing exponentially. We have the silver tsunami, which is the fact that seniors are living so much longer. It used to be when we were kids, when you heard someone living into their 90s, it was like, wow, that's old, or even hundreds. And now it's like, it's not.
That's young.
Right? Well, yeah, definitely young. But, it's like, it's not as surprising. Oh, grandma's 92, we're taking her out, whatever the situation. And also because of, all the baby boomers hitting 65, which is 10,000 people a day in our country are turning 65 up until the last year, the baby boomers turned 65. So, that's sometime 2030, I guess, or I'm not sure exactly when. But, that's a lot of the older population. And, we've never experienced anything like this before. I mean, this is the first time that the majority of seniors are are the majority. It's never been this before. So there's so many different sectors, from healthcare to policing to every kind of, sector that, has to prepare for this. And we're not really sure how to prepare for it. So I'm curious if you like to think about it, what are the things have you guys noticed anything, because 10 years ago, or when you started 15, 16 years ago, it wasn't as significant, the senior population. What things have you noticed, and are there, I want to say, safety tips that you think could be helpful too for the seniors and the new seniors, and the whole like range of seniors?
The one thing is elderly scams.
Yeah.
We get this all the time. We get called to people's houses, the patrol guys, and then the detective division is always following up, is elderly scams. Someone will call just a random number, and that's all that they need to do is just they target it, whether they go through the phone book and look at all the numbers, and they'll call one number, and the first thing, so this is the way it usually goes, is grandma or grandpa or pop or whoever, answers the phone. Yeah. Johnny, Susan.
Right.
Yeah. This is Susan. I've been arrested, or I've been in a real bad car accident. You need to do me a favor. You need to bail me out. I go to CVS and get a gift card or a green money card for $10,000, and someone's going to call you, and I need this money, or else I'm going to jail, or I'm being held hostage. And when you first hear it, the person on the other line, the victim, which is understandable, gets so nervous and panics. And the first thing they do is like, oh my God, I got to help my loved one here. Not thinking, wait a second. If we ever arrested anyone, we're never asking for a money card or an iTunes card or a gift card.
Right.
To send it to a number, and not to call, the person's parent or, daughter or whoever else to say, hey, did you know so-and-so's been arrested?
Right.
And people get so nervous and they do it. And the deal with the green money cards is this: once you get that money put on that card and you give them the code on the back, that money never gets returned to you. And there's been a lot of times where we had people who have been victims of like thousands of dollars, and, you know, elderly people work their whole life, you know, and, you know, now they've given away all their money and they've been the victim of a scam.
Well, we'll definitely talk about scams. We do have to take a quick break. We'll be continuing with our guests from the 6th Precinct, talking all about safety tips for seniors. You're listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm your co-host today, along with Otto Los, and we've been talking with Officer Joseph Altieri and Eddie Vilchez from the 6th Precinct, and talking all about safety tips and just everything to be vigilant about, and also community policing, which is really just a great model that you guys are doing. Before the break, we were talking about scams. We talk a lot about scams because seniors, unfortunately, get preyed on. I think because a lot of them are you know, sometimes it's because they're polite and nice and don't want to say no. But, you know, this one where, you know, it's their grandchildren, you know, it's really an awful scenario. Is there an uptick in that kind of a thing around the holiday season, or it's just constant?
That one's a constant, unfortunately. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be just elderly people. This scam happens to everyone. I remember taking a case report or getting called to a doctor's office not too long ago. A local person here up in the Great Neck area, and he was a doctor, and all this information, just because what he does is online. So these people looked online, they got, you know, they used his information. They managed to find out that he had a son who was away at school. So the scam is that they called the son and said, "Hey, we're holding your dad hostage. You need to send money." Then they called the father and said, "Hey, we're holding your son hostage. You need to send money." They both called each other and wired money to, you know, each other, and then through the phone, thinking that each one is being held hostage somewhere. And then afterwards, they didn't think to call and see what's going on because they were not in the same location. Finally realized everything's fine. This is a scam. They got scammed out of a lot of money. So wow. It happens to not just elderly people, but any type, you know. We get so caught up in our emotions thinking that our loved ones are, you know, injured or being, you know, something bad done to them, that you need to take a second, collect your thoughts, and then go from there.
Right.
Joe, I'm sorry, but Joe, earlier you mentioned the green money card. I can't say, I'm a little naive when it comes to that. What is the green money card?
That's like what would be like a Western Union, like a wire transfer.
Right.
It's like green money card, or there's another one like green dot card, and you could go to CVS or pretty much anywhere that does wire transfers. And what you would do is you take your money, you go up to the counter. I like to use this green money card for a wire transfer. You pay them, and then it goes on that wire transfer card, and then it gets wired out. Once the wiring takes place, that's it. Your money's gone. We've even talked to a lot of places that do wire transfers. If you do see an elderly person or someone who might be buying several of these cards, to say to them, "Hey, is everything all right?" You know, because it's understandable if you're going to wire someone money, you know, someone overseas or whatever the case may be, is to have something bad happen legitimately. But when it happens, like they'll get $1,500 $5,000, and then they come back, they call the person on the phone, I'm going to send you the money. Okay, we need you to go back again because it didn't go through. Take another 10,000 out, and now they go back to the same CVS or wherever they go to. They buy another one. Oh, we need another 5,000. So we've even talked to the stores,
Right.
and even the banks too. Like if you see an old person, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to say old, but an elderly person or just older person taking out all these money constantly. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, is everything all right? Do you need to talk to someone, why you're taking this money out? Because there are red flags, constant withdrawals in a short amount of time. Like, most people will go to the bank who are actually withdrawing money, because a lot of people don't know more. It's always, credit card or a debit card. Will take out the money that they need, maybe a little more, and then they're done for the day. But when it happens like 3 or 4 times the same day within an hour, that's a kind of a red flag. What, something going on? We put flyers out. We've, tried over and over again. We've hung flyers in senior centers, and, they just managed to find the one person who hasn't heard of the scheme or the scam, and they unfortunately always get to be the victim.
What's the best number if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, any part of the program, or, the best way to connect?
They could call their local precinct. The 6 precincts, 516-573-6600, and ask for the POP office. If we're not in the office, there's a voicemail. You can leave a message. We'll call you back. Any of the other 7 precincts in Nassau have the same thing. So if you live in, whether it's Massapequa or East Meadow, each precinct has their own designated POP office.
Right. Okay.
I had a recent situation that I received a snail mail with a Citibank letterhead, and it says, we need, in order for your application is in process for a credit card cash management, something or other that you applied for, which is not true. Never applied for anything. And then it says, call, I forget the number, like Bigelow 3000 or whatever. And, and complete the information. This was a new one on me. This was actually a letter that came in the mail. And clearly it was a scam, and it had a bona fide, it had a logo on it and the whole bit that goes along with it. Have you run into that much?
Not traditionally through mail. A lot of times it's text messaging or email.
Right.
A person will get an email, let's say from whatever bank, and to update your profile, or if you think you're a victim of a scam, put your personal information into this, website. And then they do, and they put all their personal information in there. And then what happens is now you're compromised. The best bet is, I like to do, if I get something like that, or if I think I'm going to be a victim, I would actually go into the bank, take the time, just go there and tell them what's going on, and let them, where you actually see who you're dealing with. And obviously, if you're in the bank, you're pretty legit, you're safe, and you can tell them what's going on, whether instead of calling over the phone, because a lot of times when people try to do these scams over the phone, if they're calling you and they're asking you for your personal information, that should be a red flag. You called me. You already know why you're calling me. You have all my information. If you're legitimately from a financial institution, or let's say Social Security, or Medicare, or whatever the case may be, if someone's calling you, they already have your information. They have your account number. They have everything. So if they were to say, "Oh, Mr. Altieri, I'm calling you about, let's say your Citibank card, and I just need your account number to verify that." Well, if you're calling me, you should already have that, and I'm not going to give you that information. So my next step would be to go into the bank, or to call the bank itself whether it's the number on one of my statements and say, did you call me? Because I just got a call from someone who said they were from Citibank.
You just got to be mindful. Something that happens in my neighborhood almost every weekend is people come soliciting, oh, we did your neighbor's windows or something like that. And they're like, did you know that they'll point to something and say, you really need that fixed, blah, blah, blah. And the thing that's most upsetting, because I have no problem, dealing with that, is that they come to the house wearing the green vests or the vest that like town workers wear, or, and one of them has that vest on it's, I hate to say, it's a smart, like people were like, oh, they associate that kind of glow vest with, workers, whether it's with, PSEG or town. And I said, well, why are you, and I asked the guy, why are you wearing that vest? And he's, you're going door knocking, and they just walked away.
Yeah.
I called, and
it's
I
always
did
good
call
to
the
ask for the,
police, and because they went to my neighbor's house too. And,
yeah, it's always good to ask for their credentials too, because they should have ID. If they're from PCG, they should have ID.
Right.
as
Right,
well.
exactly. But these guys were
No.
salesmen, and they were trying to, like you open the door because you see the guy who has the vest on. It's just their way of getting you to talk to them. And you think that they're kind of like official, but they're not. And they're not saying that they are, but they're wearing that vest. So you that you associate with, the guys who are fixing the street or working with the town or, different things like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the way the world I'm the same way. So if someone comes to my house and, I'm not expecting them immediately, I'm like, what's going on here? What is this?
Right.
And there's nothing wrong, like Officer Vilchez says, you work for PSAG. Most of the time, the real people that do, they have a lanyard around their neck with their ID. And not to say that those are not fake IDs, because
Right.
today you can make anything online, but to question people, or maybe if you have a storm door, to have that door shut, talk through the door. Or you can even say, you know what, I'm not interested. Thank you. And, I'm not being rude or whatever. And just say,
And then call PSEG directly,
Yeah.
or whoever it is,
or
Verizon,
the local precinct.
The cable companies are
or the cable companies. Sure,
are
yeah.
pretty notorious for sending people up and down the block.
Yeah.
And that bothers me, frankly, because they could be legitimate, but it's annoying, first of all, that they even come to your house. Has anything ever tried to stop that, where they can't do that, where they're told, this is not a business the business model you should use?
That's really not a police department. You'd have to take that up with the town, and
right. No,
there have to be like some kind of provisions, restrictions on soliciting.
Right. They would send a postcard sometimes, we're going to be working in your area. I think that some of the bigger kind of utility companies do things like that. And another thing with the door knocking out of it, we used to talk about a lot is, if somebody's coming to your door and quickly needs something, like, hey, you know what, I will do your roof, give me the 500, I'll go to Home Depot, I'll pick the stuff up, I'll come back and fix it. And, things like that. If something is too good to be true, it is, right?
It always is.
Yeah.
It always is, Speaking of another scam that you brought to my memories, something like that, like, oh, you won the lottery, or whatever the case, you came into some money. All I need you to do is send $1,000 and we're going to send you back $1 million in return. Yeah. Never, ever true. It's never going to happen, and you're going to be out of your money. So don't ever, if it sounds, like you said, sounds too good to be true, it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything.
Does POP apply? Like, one of the biggest things I hear people complain about lately is reckless driving. And I don't know if that would be handled on a precinct level. You know, it seems like there's a lot of people who are really driving like maniacs right now, ignoring stop signs, going in a 25-mile-an-hour blocks, 80 miles an hour. The list is long.
We do handle some things like that. Some precincts have precinct enforcement who just target traffic violations. We have a highway unit that does that. Sometimes the pop unit will be deployed to handle some issues. So we handle, we're pretty much involved in everything. So we get a little taste of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have meetings. We'll have meetings with the local mayors, whoever, you know, whatever area has a problem. And then we'll also notify postcards as well to just have a heads up of problem areas within their working area to just maybe control maybe the speeding in certain blocks, certain streets, certain stop signs or lights where, you know, wherever we would just find out, well, any information of where the problems are.
Okay.
Do you ever get vindication from these scammers? Like, have you ever caught someone? And I mean, it must be so rewarding when especially when it's seniors or, you know, people are scammed and you get the person, you know. I mean, it's so hard today because of the internet and people can scam you from across the globe. But, you know, so it must be very vindicating when you actually can get someone.
Oh yeah, especially when it's an elderly person. We do actually sometimes go out and we're able to catch them, you know.
Yeah.
So it is satisfying when we do catch a bad guy or girl, you know, and they get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the crimes are so horrible, especially like when you read about someone who's like an aide to a bedridden senior who like takes their checkbook and is able to do things like that. You know, it's like so awful. Yeah. And then when they get caught, it must be, you know, they've done so much damage though too. But
yeah, unfortunately, the damage is done. You know,
yeah.
And you know, the getting back their belongings or the money or whatever is rewarding, but sometimes the damage that's been caused, it's so much. And you know, it's good that the person got in trouble, but it's in the end, it's still caused a lot of problems.
Right. And nothing against aides. I mean, they're wonderful people. The majority do wonderful work and help people, but you know, it's tricky when someone lives with someone and, you know, that kind of a thing. But, you know, it's still awful. But you guys just.
Well, I think you were just using that as an example.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because I mean, you know, there are scams that happen that you're not even aware of. I mean, I had someone used my Social Security for collecting unemployment in Ohio. So I guess like last year sometime there was a lot of that going around. People were getting things in the mail from unemployment saying someone applied and blah, blah, blah. But someone actually collected. And, you know, it took a lot to be able to undo that.
Yes.
And you know, you had to lock all my, you know, credit, and I did all that. And then I had to deal with, you know, the IRS because it came on my taxes that I collected money in Ohio.
I had the same thing. Someone filed for unemployment benefits.
Did they get it though? Or you?
Well, what happened was actually they sent me a debit card to withdraw my funds to my house. So when I got it, I was like, wait a second. And then I got another letter from unemployment. And then I got another letter saying to verify it. And I was like, you know, I work for the police department. I've never been laid off, you know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, they were trying to get unemployment benefits. But like you said, the hassle afterwards was unbelievable how easy it was to get it. And then so hard for me to try to fix it wasn't, I say to myself, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? How easy someone could get a scam going, and then when you try to fix it, it's like almost impossible, and you got to make all these phone calls and send all these letters out and monitor your credit and everything else on top of it.
We're going to have Officer Vilchez, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name, and Officer Altieri back again, because we are at the end of our segment with you both. Thank you so much for all that you do for the community and coming on the show and giving information. We'll definitely give that phone number out again, right, Kristina, at Talk of the Town. But again, thank you so much, and I hope that we get a chance to have you back again soon. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy holidays.
Happy
and everyone
holidays.
stay
Take
safe.
care.
We'll
good.
be right back with Project Independence and You.